Okay, everyone, this is part two. Now, part one, you saw I drew all those shapes. Whoops. And this time around, I am going to finish off the key and make this a little more of my style, perhaps. Um, and I'm trying to, use this as a reference, but also maybe give it some of my own elements as I'm just trying to practice drawing some objects. So if I look at this here, I can see I can use a rectangle tool for quite a bit, and also the ellipse tool. So this is how I'm going to get started. I'm actually going to change this to black because I'm going to turn off this layer at one point just to see everything. And when I turn it off, it's going to be really bright yellow. So this is going to be easier on my eyes. I'm going to create a rectangle at about right here. And I'm going to switch this over to the stroke just so I can see it. And I think what I'm going to do is start right here. Okay. Now I've got, I don't know what you call this, a shaft, maybe, whatever it is. And I'm going to make sure it lines up like this, like we always do. And then I'm going to take a triangle or a rectangle. This time, I think I'm going to use the star tool to make a triangle. I thought maybe I could try a rectangle here and cut out these curves, but I'm going to use a triangle instead. But I'm going to make it with the star tool, and I'll show you why. In the previous tutorial, I showed you that making a triangle with the star tool, you have twice as many points as we did with the polygon tool. This is when it works to your advantage. So if I'm going to line this up, let's see, this was what, like 12, I think? It was 11. 10? 10. Okay, now, for me to make this how I want it, I'm not worried about this. I'm going to look at a couple of different points. For one, I know I'm going to need to curve these down to kind of get them out of the way, but it also creates a new curve here. I don't think I want. Maybe I want this to be rigid. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring this down. Again, this is my key. I'm just having fun here. And then, I've got this area in here I'm dealing with that I made earlier. And I could go about fixing that a few different ways. I want to make this easy on myself. With this triangle, I've got all those extra anchors. If I select this one with the direct selection tool and hold down shift, I can drag this down like this and avoid this area. I could do that. Now I think what I'm going to do is something different. I think I'm going to go ahead and use it like this and figure out this section here later. Now, I also going to use my Command Y here and look at these curves. I want to get rid of that harshness of the key and get some of those curves in there. And I'm going to just kind of eyeball where I think the curves could be. Okay. You see how it kind of might be easier to do this outside of Command Y so I get a better feel. Maybe not. Either way, I need to see where those are, where those curves are. So I'm going to Command Y one more time. That looks good for me. Now I'm going to replicate it over here and try to line that up. And I'm going to group these like I have the previous lesson. I'm going to line them first, group them. Then I'm going to make sure all this stuff is centered by selecting it all at once. Now I'm going to Command Y back out, and I'm going to get rid of those curves, okay? If I go and select the ellipses, I've got them grouped, and I'm going to hold down Shift and select this triangle. Come down here to the Pathfinder, and I'm going to minus front. And what that does is it takes out those, or it puts those curves in that I want. It looks kind of weird right now, but I'm also not going to leave that a stroke. I'm going to make that a shape. And now I think what I'm going to do, I'll extend this up, right? Okay. Pace a little bit. So I'm going to line this how I think it'll look okay. And I'm also going to move this, send it to the back because I want to minus it. Oops, wrong one. I don't want to send it to the back. Turn it to the front now. It's not out doing what I want it to either. So the next trick will be to use the divide. That will allow me to get rid of that shape. And I can combine all of those if I need to, but the only problem is it's going to combine everything. So for right now, I think I'll use this tool again and convert. Well, you know what, right now, I'm going to leave it because this is what's going to happen. When I flip this around, I'm going to start to get the shape back that I'm hoping for, like that. That actually is okay with me. And then I got to finish this off. I'm going to put in a rectangle about right there. And I'm going to make one more right here to make sure that these two are aligned. If I select them both, I can use this right alignment. They're good. And then I'm going to take these, select all three at once. I'm going to combine them or unite them. And then one more step. I'm going to use the direct selection tool, and I'm going to select just that area because I'm going to use these little curves here to give it a little bit of little extra. Now, if I turn off my layer, it's not a bad looking key. Could be better, but for practicing and never, trying to make a key before, it's not terribly bad. So, like I said, these are just little things that you can do, practice and try using shapes. I mean, made all of that with shape tools rather than trying to draw it myself. I got a reference point, got to practice, looks somewhat like a key. If I look at the original, and not bad. I don't know. Give it a shot. See what happens.